Hello, everybody, and welcome to From the Mezzanine. From the Mezzanine is the Broadway podcast for the Broadway fans, where we talk about all things Broadway news, Broadway grosses, and let's be honest, all of the tea and gossip that happens week to week in the Broadway stratosphere. I am joined by the one, the only. I know you missed her, Broadway Bestie Bryn.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Brittany! What's going on?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be back. I miss you guys.
We missed you so much more. And I'm ready for you to actually be back in New York. But we have T minus 1 month.
Yeah, it's like 4 weeks. 4 weeks tomorrow.
I was so sad, as you know, when you left. And I thought, like, oh my God, this is going to be the worst summer ever. This is going to be so long without my BBB. What am I going to do? And you reassured me. You were like, Lindsay, it's going to go by so fast. It went by fast. And
I came twice, and then Kaylee was there for a month.
So we've been busy over here.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe you're already about to be back. When you get back,
I'm so excited.
We're going to have Broadway Flea to go to together.
Yeah. I wonder if they're going to do that Times Square concert again.
That was in August, wasn't it, though?
No, it was September.
I thought we met in August.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Slay. Well, we did just do our full catch up on the Meet Me at the Stage Door before the podcast, which we've never done before, but we haven't talked in, like, we've texted plenty, but we haven't gotten on a FaceTime or Zoom in a minute. Bryn's been a little busy over at camp. So if you want...
I work like 18-hour days, so apologies.
That's insane. I'm
it's
sorry.
Like 8 a.m. till 11 p.m. every day.
Oh my God. That's wild.
It's okay.
But you're having the time of your life.
I'm having the time of my life.
I love that. I love that for you. But if you want to hear our full catch up, we did it over at the Meet Me at the Stage Door because I knew we would have so much to just like talk about. So for the Broadway Besties on the Patreon, you can go check that out there. Brittany, tell us about what Broadway you've seen since you've been away, because you haven't just been at camp. You've been having some fun. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I have been having some fun. Well, I don't think I've been on the podcast since before I left. Or no, we did it once when I was in Toronto. But yeah. I came back to New York for like 5 days. And I think you talked about some of what we saw. I saw Ben Platt twice. I saw The Outsiders. I saw... What else did I see?
Well, we saw Hell's Kitchen.
I saw a show called The Welkin with Sandra Oh off Broadway. Oh, I saw Tommy.
Yes.
I saw Tommy. I saw Titanic at the City Center. Quite a bit actually while I was there. I was there for like
a
6
lot.
days.
Not quite a bit, like a ton.
Yeah, we saw a ton.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks ago in Toronto, I saw Wicked, the touring company of Wicked.
Yeah, we need to hear about that at length. And then I also think that you should say your POV of the Tonys.
Oh, yeah.
Because we haven't talked. You haven't been on the podcast since then, right?
Drama Desk and the Tonys happened as well.
Okay, let's start there. That way we go kind of in order. So they've heard me yap on and on about the Tonys. So what was Bryn's POV? Tell us.
It was so cool. Honestly, while I was there, it was kind of like an out-of-body experience. I don't know if you felt the same, but I think it took like multiple days for me to realize like what actually happened. Like, I think while I was there, I wasn't actually processing what was going on. But it was so cool. Like, honestly, just like, I think probably my favorite memory is when all of us were in the room and like everyone was in the press room and there was no one in there that was actively being interviewed. So everyone was just watching the ceremony.
Yeah, I love that.
And like there were certain awards where everyone just like gasped. Like when Shayna Taub won, like everyone was like, and everyone was so happy and like genuinely cheering even when no one was in there to hear us cheering.
Because we fully thought like we're going to be tuned in to what's happening on the screen over there and like quietly react. But no, like when nobody was on the stage accepting their award, everybody was like totally tuned into what was going on.
So it was like those little moments were like so cool. Or like when even someone was in there being interviewed, I think when the Outsiders won album.
Yeah.
or no, they didn't win album.
No.
Direction.
Yeah.
It was when they won Direction, which I didn't think they were gonna win Direction. So that one was like a bit of a shock for me. And I just remember like Lindsay and I like squeezing each other's hands and like, or we were watching the Outsiders perform.
Mm-hmm.
Like those kinds of moments, those were really fun. Even just like the lead up, like getting ready together
Mm-hmm.
and like all that was really fun.
I think my favorite part was us walking around the Tony area
Yeah,
before we
yeah,
went into the room and
yeah,
spotting people and like being able to like go close
yeah,
to the carpet and see behind the scenes of what was going on, see everybody waiting to get onto the carpet, exit out of their
yeah.
cars and walk
It
up.
was honestly, now that I think about it too, I'm like, I feel like after I was like, oh, there are things that I probably would have done differently, or like there were ways that I was like, oh, I think if we had brought this, we could have gotten better content, or like the
Mm.
video this way, like all this. And I'm like, it's the first
Right,
of hopefully
exactly.
many.
Yeah.
And like we need to, that was like such a good learning experience for like you and even for me. And it was so cool. Drama Desk was also really cool because we got to like actually talk to the people, like
Directly.
having like a little like side conversation. Like I like went over and like grabbed Sarah Hyland and Corbin Blue and was like, hey, can
Yeah.
we like chat with you guys? Like even just that was
You were
like,
the best. You really were. And
whoa.
like, Bryn, I feel like I get into this like get it done mindset where I feel like
Yeah.
I like zero in these instances because I don't know, that's just where my head goes. And you are such like a calming like presence, and you're such like you talked me off a ledge. I was like, I want to try
Like
to see if we can go
reassuring.
to the after party. And you were like, Lindsay, if we're not invited this time, like we'll be invited next
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
if we do not go and try to get like, and I'm like, after the fact, I'm like, okay, duh. But in those moments, I'm like, I want to do everything. Like, I just want to do it all. And you're like,
Yeah.
Lindsay, it's not, no, that's not
Yeah.
the way that it is. And I'm like, okay.
I think it was also like it was cool because I grew up with my mom working in TV, and my mom used to do a lot of Canadian award shows. So like the Gemini Awards, which are like the Canadian film, and the Junos, which are like the Canadian Music Awards, like all this. And she did a lot of them like while I was like in elementary and like middle school. That's how
Mm-hmm.
I met like Corey Monteith from Glee and like all of that because he hosted one of them. And so I spent a lot of like time in my childhood like being in a back room with
Mm-hmm.
like a monitor playing the show, and I'd be like sitting there doing my homework. So like
That's
being
wild.
at like the drama desks, and we were just in this random like room in a basement of an
Mm-hmm.
NYU building,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a TV, like a blurry TV playing the award show with
That was
no
happening right
audio.
above our heads. Yeah.
And I was like, it was just such a weird like flashback to
Yeah.
childhood, and it was kind of like, whoa, I've always been like the only person in my family to not go into the arts because my sister's in TV now and all of that. And I'm like, see, mom, I kind of am. She's always like, I can't believe you didn't end up in this field. And I'm like, I kind of did now.
You kind of
So
did.
it
Yeah.
was cool.
Yeah. And you have that history and like
Hmm.
experience doing those things where I do not. I've never done
Hmm.
any of this before. And so that's been so helpful. I love that
Yeah,
little
it's fun.
Tony flashback recap.
Yeah. And
Nice.
then I saw Wicked in Toronto, as I said, which we can also get into.
Yeah.
But a main reason why I wanted to see it was Alex Vin, who I saw in Kimberly and Kimbo multiple times, is Bach on the tour now.
Mm-hmm.
And he was so good. But we said hi after because we had like talked at the Kimberly stage door at the closing. And I
And
was
you
like, we'll
told
come see
him,
you in
yeah.
Toronto. And then that day too, we were celebrating my birthday. I got my birthday cake, which looked like a Kimberly Akimbo playbill.
That was
Um,
so cute.
let me show you guys. It was the cutest cake ever. It was the best. So I like posted it and tagged him. I was like, birthday cake and Alex and Wicked all in one day, like best day. And then he replied like, happy birthday. And then we said hi after whatever. And we talked, and we were talking about New York, and I was like, yeah, like I do live there, but I'm here for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I was just there because I went to the Tonys. And he was like, what? And he was like, it was so interesting because last year the stakes were so high for us.
Yeah.
Whereas this year I just like watched it
Mm-hmm.
as any other human. And I'm like, that is like so interesting to go from it being like the biggest deal. Like you're like holding hands with like your castmates, and you're like the outcome of it for your show like it makes such a difference of like if you're
Yeah,
gonna have a job or not. Like that's
absolutely.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now you're just like watching it like any other person. Anyway, this is my cake.
For the YouTube
You can see it on
watchers, isn't that the
YouTube.
cutest thing ever?
It was really cute. It was really cute.
I can't.
Um,
It's so
but
cute.
yeah, Wicked overall was good. I just think after seeing Mackenzie Kurtz, I'll never be able to see anyone else in that role.
Yeah.
And I am really, really, really interested to see Mary-Kate Morrissey.
Mm-hmm.
On Broadway. I would love to see her. But yeah, I just like
Plus, the tour is scaled down in the Gershwin. It's so big. Like, the set is so much
yeah.
bigger. They've expanded it, like, into the boxes and things like that.
Yeah.
And, like, with
I
the
was
flying monkeys over the audience and things, it's just not as big on tour. It's still a larger-than-life production, so it's still incredible, I'm sure. Because I saw it for the first time on tour, and then when we saw it at the Gershwin, I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah, I was honestly so impressed of what they were still able to do on tour.
Cool.
Like, obviously, it doesn't expand out of the stage, and then this, as you said, like the monkeys don't come over the audience, but they're still like flying around. And I would say one thing that kind of bothered me is when she did Defying Gravity, I could see the platform she was standing on, like that lifted her up.
Mm.
And I've never seen that in the Gershwin. It's always just
Interesting.
been like all black.
Yeah, yeah.
But you could see it, and I was like,
Didn't have the
I
same
wish I didn't know
effect.
how you were doing this.
Yeah, right, right.
So, but
Huh.
it was still good. It was nice to see Alex. The tickets were insane.
How much?
$220 each.
Oh yeah. Wicked is just expensive always.
And the whole run in Toronto was sold out. So what are you gonna do? But
wow. Okay, but you enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it.
Thanks for the little recap, Bryn. I haven't
That's
seen
my
anything
recap.
else since last weekend being insane with Broadway Con. I do want to let y'all know that the Dee Roscioli interview is going to be next week, so you can look forward to that. I'm so excited for y'all to hear from her. I think I teased it last week. But we talk about Wicked, we talk about Titanic, we talk about all kinds of stuff. We talk a lot about Celine Dion and how she perfected her. I don't really, she doesn't call it an impersonation. She calls it something very specific on the episode. And I don't want to butcher it, but she's so fun. And it was so cool to get to talk to somebody who obviously was like one of the original Alphabas. And
so cool.
You know, I asked the question, what is it about this role that keeps getting so many Alphabas in? Because they have had 4 Alphabas: her, Lindsay Heather Pierce, Jackie Burns, and one other. And anyways, she gives a really good answer to that makes just so much sense. I loved it. It was a great interview, and it was so cool to do it. I'm doing the interview at the Daryl Roth Theater on the stage, so that's
so cool.
Surreal. That was so cool.
I need to see that show again.
Yeah, me too. Always. I'll go back.
And now
back
that I want to see Nathan Lee Graham in it.
Woo! My everything. We talk about it in the interview, but they are my everything. Literally, I want to see them again too. Okay, shall we get into? We'll go. There we said it. Okay. Shall we get into the Broadway grosses of the week?
Let's do it. I have not looked at grosses in like a month.
So this week we are going to get to see the effect, the JoJo and Aaron Tveit effect at Moulin Rouge, and if they're bumped up. So this is for the week ending on July 28th. They took the stage on July 23rd. So we've got a good 5 days. And I've heard that they've already made quite the impression. So let's get into it. Number 1, we have The Lion King. We've heard it all before. We have our typical top 3: Lion King, Wicked, Hamilton. What do you think 4 is, Brinny?
Cabaret?
Nope. But it's
Hell's
a newie.
Kitchen?
Yeah. Hell's Kitchen. 5 is Aladdin. 6 is Cabaret. So Aladdin has bumped itself up. I don't know why, because
the
last
summer
week
tourists.
Yeah, but
families.
like last week Cabaret was over it. Anyways, what do you think number 7 is after Cabaret?
The Rouge? Moulin Rouge?
Mm-mm.
No. Outsiders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are number 7. They've been doing so good. They are almost at $1.5 million for the entire week, which is crazy, y'all.
I just like the thought that the tickets we used to get for $30, they sold for $129.
Yep.
I'm simultaneously so happy for them.
I know.
And also like keep a couple cheap tickets.
Yeah, but they're selling all of the standing room, which are always
Yeah.
45, and now they're selling
Yeah.
standing room with the rush. So at least they have
Yeah.
rush. Literally, that's all I have to say. They've gotten away from doing their lottery. At least they have rush still. Because they don't have to even do that.
Yeah. I was talking to some people at camp about it. They're like, oh yeah, we're planning a trip for like November to come see Outsiders. Will you come see it with us? And I was like, of course I will, but like, good luck.
Get ready. Yeah.
And they were like, no, by November it'll be fine. I was like, I don't think so.
No, absolutely not.
I don't think
It'll
so.
be easier than the summer for sure. But yeah,
it's still going to be like a 7 a.m.
No, more. Haha.
I know.
Girl, no.
I think a weekday in November.
No, I disagree.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We went by 6 while Kaylee was here and didn't get rush. At 6 a.m. I know, but not 7. No. People are literally like getting there the night before. It's the rent effect. Like it's been really, really crazy. I think you have to get there at 5 if you even want rush right now. At 5. Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy. So I'm taking a step back from that rush line for sure. Major step back, and I'm okay with it. The Outsiders is 7, like we said, and they have the highest capacity of any show, I want to say, on Broadway at all. Yep, they do. Highest capacity.
Like percent capacity?
Yep, 102.5 basically percent.
What's Hell's Kitchen at?
Hell's Kitchen is like 100.5%.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're full. Everybody we've named so far, pretty much, they are nearly at 100% capacity. But the Outsiders, there's not an open seat, not even an open standing room.
No.
So good for them. MJ is 8. The Wiz is 9. Harry Potter is 10. So Moulin Rouge is at 11. But their grosses have, like, the amount they're grossing has really bumped up. Next week, I think we're going to see the full thing because it'll be a full week of having them on. And they both have a lot of scheduled absences. So I do think we're going to see a lot of fluctuation with Moulin Rouge. But either way, it's been huge. It's been huge to have Aaron back on. I
need to see it.
Yes, you do. Yes,
yeah,
you do.
We'll go.
I want to do lottery for it. But the tickets actually aren't that bad. I was looking at the pricing. It's nothing crazy. Like there was a $59 one in the mezzanine last week.
Oh, yeah. And I'd rather pay that and have full view than pay the like lottery terrible view because my view is so bad.
Yeah, no thanks. Yours wasn't lottery though. I thought y'all bought
No,
that at the
it was
box
like
office.
Box office. It was like $79 or whatever. But according to the what's it called? Like View from My Seat.
Yeah.
According to View from My Seat, that's where the lottery tickets usually are.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. I have seen lottery tickets up in the mezzanine though, too.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, if I win lottery, obviously I am there, y'all. Great Gatsby is right beneath Moulin Rouge, so they're not dropping behind too much at all. O'Mary is doing really well. They have over $1 million in grosses for the week, and they have 100% capacity. So does Stereophonic.
For a play?
I know.
Crazy.
And the Lyceum's pretty small. The Lyceum,
what's the capacity of
for the entire week? It's about 7,000.
Okay, it's not tiny.
No.
It's not like 500.
But it's not average. It's like a little smaller than average, I would say. Any others that you want an update on, Bryn, since you haven't checked it out recently?
How's The Notebook doing?
The Notebook is not doing well. They're third from the very bottom. They grossed just over $500,000 last week. 92% capacity, so their theaters probably feels pretty full, but their ticket price, I guess, isn't able to be very high. Maybe they're doing
What's Water for Elephants like?
Water for Elephants, they almost are at $1 million, but their capacity's at 81% for the week.
And how's Suffs?
Suffs is Suffs is below Water for Elephants, above The Notebook. 95% capacity. They grossed $855,000 last week. So that's
okay. I feel like that's pretty good. Yeah, I feel like that's good. So is Notebook the lowest musical?
Other than Chicago, yes. Chicago is below them. Which
but Ariana Madix is coming back, so it's gonna go up.
Chicago needs to go. I'm sorry.
It will never go, I don't think. But
I know, but it needs to.
Ariana Madix is back.
Yeah, it'll bump back up. But yeah, other than that, The Notebook is at the very bottom. Right above The Notebook is Illinois. Above that is Hadestown, and then Suffs. So Very interesting. Let's get into
Very
our
interesting.
Broadway news of the week, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
It's been so long since we had you to break down the Broadway news with us.
I forgot to do my cha-ching for the grosses.
How dare you? Okay, let's redo
Sorry,
it. Let's
guys.
get into the Broadway grosses.
Cha-ching.
Love it. Okay. Let's get into the Broadway news. Come up with something else.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have? This
I don't
week.
know. This week on Broadway News, we have
the Queen of Versailles news. Woo! So we got two big pieces of news this week. One is that it is coming to Broadway officially. We always knew it was going to come to Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
Like what
so
was
far
it?
away.
How did we know it was always going to come to Broadway? I feel like because they always said this was their Broadway tryout, pre-Broadway show.
Wasn't their Instagram like QOV Broadway or something?
Yeah, probably. And then we also get their opening night reviews. So,
it says pre-Broadway world premiere.
There it is. Okay, that's why we always knew. So first of all, let's talk about their Broadway arrival. We know it's going to be coming in the 2025-2026 season.
Too far. I want Kristen and Adina and Audra all against each other.
Wait, does this mean it won't? It could still be in the next Tonys. Right?
No, 2025-2026 season.
Shit. Are you for real?
I know. Yeah, because it's 2024-2025 season right now. But what I would do for a category with Audra, Adina, and Kristen.
Wait, I thought that it
imagine.
Wait, hold on. I need a lesson here. I'm confused. Because if it came in like January 2025, then is that not the 2025-2026 season?
No. The 2025-2026 season
starts when?
May 2025 to April 2026.
Okay, so it will be in the next Tonys.
So we might still get, or we likely will still get an overlap of them on Broadway at the same time, but it won't be the same Tony season.
But if it opened in May 2025, it would be in the most recent Tonys. Like it will be in the next Tonys because that's what Illinois did.
Illinois opened April 25th. That was the last day. That was the cutoff.
What about Gatsby?
It was also April 25th.
Okay. And that was the cutoff. It felt like it was like right up.
Because
it felt like it was closer.
Kimberly closed on April 28th.
Uh-huh.
On April 29th, we went to see Devil Wears Prada. And on the 30th, we reacted to the Tony noms.
You have a great memory.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was the 30th.
This is news to me. I thought, of course, it's coming in the next season. So that's a little bit of a letdown because all of us wanted that face-off between Audra, Adina, and Kristen. But this is better, honestly, this way because we don't need another face-off between Adina and Kristen like we did during Wicked. But okay, I'm okay with that, honestly. I love a super busy, hectic Broadway season, but it's still going to be crazy. Yeah, it's still going to be wild.
The number of celebrities that are going to be on Broadway.
And off Broadway. We're not talking about it, but Adam Driver and Keanu Reeves, who in my head are the exact same person, are both coming to off Broadway. I don't know about Keanu's show. That was just announced. But yeah, it's going to be a crazy season either way. But yeah, this is news to me. So the producers released in a statement that, quote, the entire Queen of Versailles company is having an incredible time building this new original American musical with the gracious and arts-loving audiences in Boston. They go on to say, quote, we are looking forward to the journey ahead and bringing the story to Broadway in the 2025-2026 season. So it's a coming, y'all. And I'm sure we're going to have an overlap, knock on wood, of Adina and Kristen.
Oh, I'm sure we will. And I think it's going to come early in the season because Kristen has a big enough name that they don't need to be close to Tony's to be remembered.
That's right.
So I think it'll come probably next summer. So in about a year.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I will not be
guess.
running to Boston to see it because according to these reviews, which we're going to get into just a second, it sounds like it does need some fine tuning before it comes to Broadway, which I'm also really happy about because I am all for taking the time between your pre-Broadway tryout and your Broadway show.
So maybe
that's
why they're taking so long.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. So, but this show has been breaking serious box office records over in Boston at their theaters.
Oh, so. I'm not surprised because even Kristen Chenoweth is obviously huge, but also I think his name's F. Murray Abraham. Like, he's also a big deal.
Right, which he wasn't really cited much in the reviews, which I was surprised by. So let's get into the reviews for this show. There weren't a lot. It's an off-Broadway show. There's not a ton of reviews to really digest, but I looked at 2 that were very different and seemed to disagree on a lot of things. One seemed to really like it, and one seemed to absolutely not like it at all. So Bob Verini with Variety wrote up the show, and he really loved it. He cited that it needs to be tightened. He said it's running to be about 3 hours long right now, and that there's a lot of songs that can be cut. He said that there are some songs that feel like they're or some scenes that are missing a song. But he calls Kristen Chenoweth courageous, skillful. He says that this really gives her the opportunity to flex her dramatic muscles, which will be something new that I feel like we really haven't gotten to see on a stage. She's usually the funny, quirky, larger than life character. So it'll be nice to see her, or heartbreaking to see her be more serious. Please don't hurt my Queen Kristen. But I'm excited about that, and she obviously has the depth to pull it off, and
Can you remind me, is this Stephen Schwartz?
Yes, it is Stephen Schwartz. Stephen Schwartz, Michael Arden is directing.
Oh.
And Kristen Chenoweth at the helm. So it's Wicked 2.0. Where can Adina fit in? They need to write a new character.
I love that Nina White is in it, my queen.
Nina White, which we'll talk about in the next review, she got really good reviews. They say
she's
that
incredible.
So let's finish up this review and then we'll get into the next. They say that the star power, and this is true in both reviews, that the star power is the greatest asset of this show. It needs to be reworked in some ways, but once you're looking at Kristen just be a powerhouse, I feel like the price of your ticket is worth it, and you're just happy to be there, and you are intrigued and interested and pulled into the story just by her star power alone. So I'm excited. I think that this is promising.
I have a tangent.
Go ahead. Let's go.
Now that I'm thinking about Kristen, all I can think about is, my name is April Rhodes. You know how she writes the musical in Glee?
No, I don't know. No, I don't know.
She writes a musical in Glee, the April Rhodes story. And it's about her character. It's after she mounts her all-white production of The Wiz.
Which you just have to keep bringing up on the podcast.
Anyway, we're done. Her song, My Name is April Rhodes, is stuck in my head now. Anyway, moving on.
What season is that?
Probably 3.
Okay,
2 or 3.
I don't think I've seen that.
Ugh. And then Matthew Morrison is ditching the Glee Club because he is going to be in the April Rhodes story, but then it fails at the box office.
That's obviously hilarious. Okay, I'm gonna watch that after this. So yeah, back to the story.
Love to the business.
We got one really good review, and then we have one really bad review. So this review is coming from Theater Mania by Cameron Kelsall, and he titles the review that this show has curb appeal and not much else. Pretty much saying you see Kristen Chenoweth's name, so you're buying a ticket. Once you get in there, you're like, what have I done?
Interesting.
Which I just hate. And I hate to cite these poor reviews before the shows even come to Broadway, because obviously I am rooting for this show and I want to show my support for it. I like it. It has curb appeal for me. And I know that once I'm in there, I'm just going to be in awe of Kristen. So anyways, he goes on to say,
did they talk about the dog in the reviews?
They do. They did bring up the dog. They say
is it actually on stage the whole time?
I don't know if it's on stage the whole time. They say there's also a python and a lizard. I don't know if they're all real.
The dog is for sure real.
Okay. I think the python is too.
Okay, tell us the review.
So he cites that Stephen Schwartz's songs are super catchy. They're going to become Broadway staples. There's this one called Caviar Dreams. You might have already heard. It's on YouTube. But he says there's these themes in the songs that you hear over and over and over, and they're so overly repeated that you get so sick of it. I hate saying these things, Bryn, because I just can't picture in my head that Stephen Schwartz would do this, and this person just sounds so negative. I'm sorry, I'm not on board with them. But yeah, he says a lot of the songs make like very little relevant sense to the plot line of the story. Like all of a sudden there's like this country song out of nowhere.
It's so interesting to hear this because normally with shows that get like not good reviews, I'm like, do I want to see it? I don't know. This one, I'm like, I literally couldn't care less. Put
I
me in a
couldn't
seat.
care. Yeah, exactly.
I'm there.
Exactly.
Like even the photos I've seen, I'm like, this looks kitschy. I kind of like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, if it was in New York right now, I'd see it even with these reviews.
Absolutely. 100%.
Like,
but I'm not
easy
going to go to
done.
Boston for something that they're saying is like 3 hours and too long. So
If there
it's not
was
getting me
more
there,
overlap between Gatsby and this in Boston, I would have tried to go.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed in Gatsby at Paper Mill, and by the time it
That's
came
fair.
to Broadway, I loved it. And luckily I have the luxury of like waiting for things to come to New York when they are fine-tuned, and I'd rather just do that. I don't want to spend the money to get to Boston, get that ticket, because sometimes these off-Broadway shows, they're not any cheaper, and sometimes they're more expensive than Broadway. So I'd rather just see it in its final state on Broadway, which is what I want to do with this. Like I want to like foster my experience in that way and not go have a more poor experience. But it is really fun to also like play the comparison game and get to compare the off-Broadway to the Broadway show.
I just get stressed that like casts are gonna change. I don't think they will.
Yeah.
Like
This obviously
with, like,
won't, but
this won't. And like I have a feeling Gatsby will come to Broadway, and I don't think the cast will change. But I just like obviously want to see Ben.
You never know. I know. I'm sorry. That's why I was really nervous about you not seeing it in Boston.
I know, but I think he'll
never
do it.
know.
He hasn't announced anything else.
As long as he hasn't, then I'm sure.
Other than ragtime.
True. That's like 2 weeks though.
It's
So
like 2 weeks.
No
if
biggie.
Shayna Taub can leave stuffs and go back, he'll be fine.
True. And in this article from Theater Mania, he also says that Nina White as Victoria, she plays Kristen Chenoweth's daughter, and she is like the heart and soul of the show. She has 2 songs that you just adore her. So apparently she's just really the outstander from the show, which I know you love.
Oh, I love it.
Because
I love her. I think she's so good.
Yeah, she is. So anyways, these are varying reviews. I choose to like the more positive one, and that's that.
The other.
Yeah, exactly. So congratulations, first of all, to Queen of Versailles for making their Broadway transfer and for breaking those box office records over in Boston. And I look forward to all of the fine tuning and improving that they will be doing on their show before they come on over to Broadway. Bryn is going to love our next news story because, Bryn, is there a piece of Broadway news that caught your eye this week? Let me see.
Are you going to say Anne Juliet? Yes. Crazy news.
Yes, we have some departures and arrivals. Bryn, take it away.
Okay. I am so excited about this arrival of Drew Gelling.
Oh, yeah.
Into the role of Shakespeare. The original Shakespeare was Stark Sands, and I loved him. And he's going to be back on Broadway and Swept Away, which is so exciting. And then we had Austin Scott come in, who is now going to be departing. And Drew Gelling will be taking over. And I just think that like he's going to be so good in the role, and him and Betsy will have a 2-month overlap.
Oh, good.
And
were they in Waitress together?
Yeah.
Ah! Oh my God, I love it.
I'm definitely going to go and see them.
That's going to be good.
Yeah. And my mom is obsessed with Betsy Wolfe, so I think she's going to want to see it before Betsy leaves.
Is your mom going to be here? No. Okay, so Drew Gelling, he takes the stage on August 16th.
He's coming in August, and then Betsy, I think, is leaving October 20th-ish.
Yep, exactly.
So they've got about 2 months, which is really exciting.
Yes.
Honestly, Betsy's departure was not a huge surprise at all. To me, she's now like, they've been on Broadway. It'll have been 2 years when she leaves.
That's a long time.
And then she did the pre-Broadway trial in Toronto. And that's a hard, like she belts her freaking voice out in that show. And I think she carries that show. And she's one of the only OGs remaining. Our other 3 OGs remaining are all also leaving, which we'll get into.
That's all of the rest of like the OBC? Seriously.
Except like the players. There are a bunch of players still there. And I actually don't know Lance, who is played by Paulo Cesat, SZOT. He left for like 2 months and then came back. So I guess he might still be there, but he hasn't been there the whole time. He left for a bit and came back.
Okay.
or is coming back or something. And Betsy had that choking incident with that salad.
I know.
And she was like out for a month and she was really unwell and like hasn't really been able to get back to like 100% full being there yet.
Yeah.
Like she'll still miss like a show a week or so. So that one wasn't a huge surprise. I think you talked about it a few weeks ago on the podcast. They're slowly dipping a bit in their grosses. So I think they are kind of doing like a clear out and then they're going to try and like get people in.
Interesting.
You know?
Okay. Yeah. Try
Also
something new.
it just like 2.5 years is a long time
Yes. Oh my
to
God.
be with
Yeah.
a show. And like I was surprised Lorna lasted as long as she did, which now it makes sense that she left because she announced a new project.
What's her new project?
I forget what it is. I think it's something off Broadway.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think Betsy will probably take some time off. She also has her like Broadway Evolved like conference thing that she runs.
Yeah.
I think maybe she'll just like take some time to be herself.
Good.
And then we also have Philip Arroyo leaving. We have Ben Jackson Walker leaving, and we have Justin David Sullivan leaving.
Yeah, so they are all taking their final performance on October 27th.
Yeah,
so we've got time.
They have a week after Betsy. I saw Justin's first, and I was like, okay. And then they made the post that all three were leaving. I'm really intrigued to see if they're all gonna be brand new people or if any of the understudies are going to take the role.
What
of
do you
any
think?
Of them. I think that they're all going to be new.
Okay.
The only one I can see not being new is maybe there's someone, his name's Michael Yvonne Carrier or something. He's one of the understudies for May. He was really good when I saw him. So I could maybe see him taking that role just because I don't know, that role is like a little bit harder to cast.
Yeah.
Like the role of like Romeo and oh my God, what's his name? Frankie. They're both just like teenage boys. You know, like it's not like too hard of a role to find someone good for. My mom has always said that Alex Vinn, that Kimberly understudy who I love, would be so good as May in Juliet, which I agree, but he's in Wicked at least for the next year. So
okay.
That's a no. But I was trying to think this morning. I was like, who do I think could be
a good
cast for all of them? Like even like for Betsy, I'm like, who
do you think for Betsy?
I don't know. I think there are so
like a Shoshana type.
I think like anyone who's ever been like Glinda.
Yeah, or in Waitress.
Or like, yeah, any like a Waitress vibe. Like who was I thinking of? I forget. But like anyone, yeah, like that kind of like the Shoshana, the Betsy, like the
Annalee Ashford.
Like Annalee Ashford, Jessica Vosk, like that.
Absolutely.
That type of actress. I think it's gonna be like a Broadway name. I don't think it's gonna be like a celebrity, but I think it'll be like someone who will do good with like Drew Gelling. But I don't know who. And then
Sarah Bareilles.
That would be insane.
That would be crazy.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
They need a typecast, or I mean, they need a stunt casting. Yeah. They really do.
And then I was trying to think of like the boys, like but I
Antonio
feel like
Cipriano.
Okay, what came to my mind was John Cardoza.
For who?
But then I was like, no, he's too angelic.
Are you saying for Frankie?
Frankie or Romeo?
Antonio Cipriano could be such a good Romeo or Frankie.
Yeah.
I could see him having so much fun with Romeo.
Yeah. So I'm trying to, like I feel like they're like those actors are like at the age that it's probably going to be like newer people, like people that we maybe don't know as well yet. Do you know what I mean?
Who?
Liam Pierce.
For who? For Frankie?
I don't know.
How fun would he be as Romeo?
I think Romeo. I think he's too like tall and cool to be Frankie.
I want
Liam Pierce to be the next
now. Cast him now.
No, I want Liam Pierce to be the next Orpheus in Hadestown.
Yeah, that's easy. I want
when
him.
Jordan
No,
officially
I want him
leaves.
in and Juliet. Honestly, I want him in something fun where he can just like
Yeah.
throw things at the wall and see if they stick, and just like have so much fun. Like I want that for him.
Yeah.
I love this. I love this, Bryn. I love this. Please
And I was
cast him as
also thinking,
Romeo.
I was like, I was like thinking of the Kimberly boys, but Justin Cooley, I don't think would fit in any of those roles.
Maybe Frankie.
I don't know. And then Michael Iskander is doing this like huge Amazon Prime series show, which is why he wasn't in the closing of Kimberly.
Oh, okay.
Because he's doing this big like he's like playing. I'm not gonna say it because I'm gonna fudge it up. It's some like religious storytelling of something, and I think he's literally playing like Jesus.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm trying
and
to
now
think.
I'm just thinking of anyone.
Liam
who
is
could-
such a hot take. Like I love
Yeah.
that. That was genius. He needs to be Romeo.
I'm thinking of like any like young people I've seen in shows, you know?
Because Romeo is giving Roger in Rent, but like over the top comedic. I feel like he's rocking and he's like this rock star, but he's also so funny.
Yeah.
And
I think
larger than life.
There are lots of people who were
Larger
like Dear
than
Evan
life.
Hansen understudy vibes that could totally fit in there. Yeah, there are lots of people.
What boy from The Outsiders would you pull and put into Anne Juliet?
I was actually literally just thinking about that.
Same brain.
Honestly, probably Sky.
I was thinking Sky or Jason Schmidt would have fun.
He's too hot. He's too cool.
Yeah. To
I
be
can't
Romeo,
see him
you
in
think?
any of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't have like that. Well, I haven't heard him try like a rocker voice. Brody Grant could be Romeo. His voice kind of fits.
He could.
It's hard.
I'm looking at like this list of shows I've seen. Oh, when I saw that show off Broadway, Jonah. There was a guy in it who was really good. What was his name? Hagen, I think.
Okay.
And he had talked about how he had auditioned for The Outsiders and didn't get it. But the
Interesting.
casting director of The Outsiders was casting Jonah. And that's how he got Jonah.
Wow. Okay.
But he could be really good.
Imagine like getting that close for The Outsiders and not getting it. It's
I know.
Crazy.
He could be really good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think you covered all of my points here. About everything going down at Anne Juliet. It's just kind of like a shakeup. It was kind of unexpected, but I think you have a fire point in saying that they need a switch up because they're dipping and they're sustainable. I think they seem sustainable.
I don't think it's going
been
anywhere
on for a while. But if they dip further, like it's a wonder that Hadestown is still on because they are just so far down. But once you make all of your money back, essentially, I don't know. We've talked about it so many times on the podcast. Everybody just wants more money.
I am intrigued to see. Yeah, I want to see Anne Juliet once more before all the people go, and I'm honestly really excited to see Drew Gelling, and I think that'll bring a lot of people who have already seen it back in.
It will.
A lot of like Broadway fans, I think, will go back to see him.
It definitely will bring people who have already seen it back. I don't know if Drew Gelling is that big of a get otherwise.
No. Like not like in like the public.
No, definitely not.
But in the Broadway world, I think like I'll go back and see it for him.
Yeah, he also just works a lot though. Like he's always in something. And
he was the best part of Titanic by far.
Wait, who was Titanic. Every time you say Titanic, I think you're talking about Titanic. Okay, Titanic. I was like, wait, who is he in Titanic?
So freaking good. He was so good.
I love that.
So good.
Okay, well, we have to move on to our next news story because we only have Bryn for a little while longer. She's got to get back to camp. But Warriors is officially a thing, you guys. So we reported on this just a couple of weeks ago. We were like, allegedly, there's a Lin Manuel Miranda concept album coming. And that's when I did my deep dive on Warriors. Bryn, have you ever heard of Warriors before? Okay, go watch the trailer. It like stunned me that it wasn't already a musical because it is
the movie trailer.
Yeah, the movie trailer. It is so, I hesitate to say weird, but it is like so indie 80s gangs in New York vibe, but there's also so much like flamboyance that I'm surprised
Okay,
it
love it.
wasn't already a musical, because they're doing all of this stage combat, but it already looks so like artistic and dance like. So it's going to morph into a really interesting concept album. And of course, we are all hoping it becomes a musical, which I see it taking that path. So go and watch it. I said on the podcast, like, this is going to be really bad for our boys at The Outsiders, because it is essentially the exact same thing. The Outsiders, West Side Story, Warriors, they're all telling the story of like these two rivals fighting over territory. And if Lin is behind it, it's going to be a hit. So I'm a little worried in that aspect, but it looks like they're taking a really dark and serious like they're making it very, like, Outsiders is a sad, heartwarming story with a lot of fun, but this looks like it's going to be a little more scary just with their art that they've already released. And there's this like iconic scene in Warriors, and I can't remember if it's in the trailer, but if it's not, go and look at it. It's like this guy is like, "Warriors come out to play," and it's so creepy. It's so creepy, but that's in the video that Lin released. That's what they put. So they are definitely going in that like kind of haunting, scary, like, it actually like apparently caused a lot of like national fright and panic over gang violence and stuff.
Wait, so is it it's a movie right now?
It's a movie.
Okay.
Lin is making it into a concept album along with Issa
Didn't
Davis.
it come out?
The movie? No, the concept album is coming out in October 18th. So Lin announced in a joint statement, I think on Instagram, quote, "We've officially spent the past 3 years musicalizing the Warriors' journey home from the South Bronx to Coney Island. Along the way, we've gotten to work with a lot of our favorite artists, and we'll be announcing their roles on the album in the weeks ahead. We can't wait to share these songs with you on October 18th. So I'm excited to see what kind of artists. I think they're probably going to go, like, Lin has a real pulse on like the R&B community. Like whenever the Hamilton mixtape came out, there were so many like R&B legends on it. I think that's likely the direction. Like I could see Posh Spice being on this. I could
His Instagram looks crazy.
I know, it's really interesting. It's really giving West Side Story with the red and everything. And anyways, I think, like I said, like we're gonna get some interesting people on these tracks. I'm excited about it.
I just thought of a hot take.
Go ahead.
It's not related to Warriors anymore.
Okay, let's go.
I'm thinking about Aunt Juliet.
Okay.
JJ Neiman.
Oh, easy. It's right there. As Frankie?
Romeo.
Or Romeo. Okay.
Either, honestly. No, JJ as Frankie, Liam Pierce as Romeo. And
never were there two better people to fit into these roles. This is the Dreamcast of a lifetime.
Oh, who would be May? I don't know. But anyway.
Gorgeous.
I was like JJ. In my mind I go, yeah.
That's the one. That's very easy.
That's the
okay,
one.
what are your thoughts on Warriors? Anything?
I'm excited. I think anything with Lin's name behind it, I can get behind.
Obviously.
Unfortunately, New York did not pan out.
No.
But
that just had like his, not even his fingerprint. It had like an eyelash of his on it. Like it wasn't even his. We're
like
Lin Manuel Miranda apologists.
Well, I also just think like in general, New York is not my kind of show.
No. Yeah.
Like, and I know that now. And also just like, oh my God, Colton Ryan in Aunt Juliet. No. Gross. I just thought of him and I was like, ugh.
Oh my God, if he ever came to Outsiders, I would be so sad. I really shouldn't say things like this on the podcast, but y'all know. If you don't know the full story, slide into my DMs, I'll tell you. I'm not a Colton Ryan stan. But I could see him coming into the Outsiders, but I would be so sad. I could see him being Soda Pop. He kind of looks like Jason Schmidt.
And yeah, just the vibe seems cool.
But it's so redundant. Like we've seen it so many times. Like this story is so overdone on Broadway. But it's always a hit. You're good with it?
That's fine.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have strong feelings either way because I don't know anything about it yet, you know?
It's definitely different. It's more scary as it's looking, which I'm always intrigued by. Like, I love a fright on Broadway. but they're going to have to set themselves apart because The Outsiders is still in the game out there. So, but I was like, I don't know if you listened to this episode, but I was really proud of this take. I was like, the next musical needs to be The Outsiders versus The Warriors. And that's just like the real life, like life imitating art.
Say it again. I got distracted.
Bryn, get off of your phone.
I'm trying. Sorry, I'm stuck in my Anne Juliet headspace now. I'll get out of it. I'm trying to Dreamcast it.
Well, who else are you trying to think of?
Well, I just was thinking of like who the heck is going to play May. And then I thought there's a drag queen named Marsha who is in Cabaret
I know
right
exactly
now,
who you're talking about. Yes.
and is MC's understudy.
Yes.
Marsha.
This is all coming together.
As May. They're done. Okay.
You're welcome, Anne Juliet. We have just cast it for you. Look no further. Just put our name in the playbill.
Let's put Jessie Mueller as Anne.
Don't love that one so much. Jessie, I've never seen her be funny.
Okay, fair.
I think Sarah Bareilles is the one.
Ali Mozzie.
Who's that?
The mom from Kimberly Akimbo.
Okay, that's easy. Yes, that's there. But I want star power. I want Sarah Bareilles. Because we know Sarah can be funny. You know who I actually want is Wiki Roy. I want Renee Elise Goldsberry as I want her as Betsy Wolf's. What's her name?
Oh,
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. That would be funny. Okay,
anyway, we did it.
We're done now.
I think if we have nothing else to say about Warriors, I think we end the podcast there. I think we've covered it all.
Yeah, we've yapped away.
Thank you, Bryn, for coming on this week's episode of Friend the Mezzanine.
Thank you.
When are you coming back?
September 1st.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. We'll have you
That's
on.
when I'll be back in New York.
Person. Yay. Okay.
So the next weekend, I'll come on the pod.
You're the best. Broadway Bestie Bryn. Has your Instagram taken off?
No, I haven't posted on it or opened it.
I was going to say we could plug it, but only if you want.
You can follow it. It's Broadway Bryn. I'm going to start it when I'm back in New York in September.
There you go. So
I have a vision. I have thoughts. I'm ready. I just have to.
What's the vision?
It's a surprise.
Ooh, okay, guys, go follow her now, and you can be one of the elite newbies to her account and be the first to see her posts once she's back. You can
take your guesses of what show do you think will be the first show I see when we're back in New York? When I'm back in New York.
I love a prediction.
What do you think? I know what the answer is.
Do you already have tickets? Oh, Cats Angelica Ball.
Yeah.
Angelica Cats Angelica.
They just announced that they're extending till September 8th. And I literally am so flipping happy.
Slay. I'm ready.
I was so sad to miss it. I just was with a family at camp and their kid is going to New York today. And they were like, he's going to see Cats the Jellicle Ball.
And you're like,
I was like, I wish it was me. But thank goodness they extended past when I'm back.
They might even extend again. You never know. I wonder if it'll come to Broadway. It's literally such a hit. Okay, Bryn, you're the best. Thanks for coming on. Tell the people what they need to do now.
You need to leave a review because it makes such a huge difference for the podcast.
This is true.
Wherever you're listening, Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. Subscribe on YouTube. If you are not watching on YouTube, you just missed us doing the Cats Jellicle Ball dance. So you should subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram, TikTok, everywhere, and become a Broadway bestie on the Patreon. And then you get our fun, unfiltered thoughts.
And Reed and I did our first FTM story time last week where we talked about everything about our move to NYC. So not necessarily all Broadway stuff over there. You're going to get like NYC content, and I'm working on the vlog right now where we went and saw Gatsby for my birthday, and what else did we see? Oh, Mary. You get to see John Stamos in my vlog. What? Crazy. So go be a Broadway bestie over on the Patreon for $5.99 a month. I promise it's so fun. Plus you get to know who my next interview is. So in my interviews, I have the Broadway besties over on the Patreon submit questions ahead of time. So for Dee's interview next week, they submitted questions directly to Dee. They are read on the podcast with Dee right there. I have a very exciting interview coming up that y'all are going to die for, right, Bryn? Bryn knows.
Oh, yeah.
And if you are a Broadway bestie, you will get to submit listener questions for that interview. Arguably.
I have a hot take. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking about Aunt Juliet again.
Stop! Okay.
You know who would get butts in seats?
Who?
Gaten Matarazzo as Frankie.
That's so killer. That's
so killer.
Yeah. That's perfect. I think I like that one the most.
Thank you.
Liam Pierce, Romeo, Gaten, Frankie, Sarah Bareilles or Renee Elise Goldsberry as Anne.
Marsha, May.
This is perfect. We've done it.
We're done.
We're done. And on that, love you guys. Thank you so much for
listening.
Besties. And I will see you next Tuesday. Bye.